Hello. Make your way to a comfortable seated position. If you have blocks, keep them near your mat. And if you do not have blocks, you can still do the practice. As we go through the practice today, I invite you to turn inward. As you're sitting comfortably on your mat, perhaps soften your gaze. Or if you're comfortable doing so, even try closing your eyes. And take a few breaths, turning inward. Notice how you're feeling physically today. Notice any thoughts or emotions within you. So much of our waking hours are spent looking outward, listening, hearing what's happening in the external world. And that of course is important. But what's equally important is that we sometimes turn inward and notice how our lives are affecting us, how we're feeling within. Be aware of what's going on within you during this practice. If you're comfortable doing so, you can practice with your eyes closed, opening them only as necessary or as you wish. But of course, keep your eyes open if that is more agreeable to you. There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. "The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be." Take a moment and softly circle your shoulders in one direction. And gently pause and go the other direction. Now lift your hands up and place your fingertips on each shoulder. Make small circles with your elbows. Maybe gradually making them a little bigger, slow circles. And then pause and go the other direction. And then slowly uncross your legs and come on to all fours. As you inhale, lower your chest and belly, arching your back. Exhaling round your back, reaching your spine towards the ceiling. Just move through here at your own pace. And then come to a neutral spine. Walk your knees together and straighten your right leg out behind you. Toes pointing towards the mat. Lower that right hip so it's level with your left. Option to stay here. Notice the core engagement. Option to extend your left arm forward. And breathe. As you exhale, round your back and bring your elbow and knee to touch. Inhaling, straighten each arm and leg. Exhale, bring them together. And inhale, straighten. One more time, bring them into touch. And pause. And now lower your hand and knee to the mat. And now straighten the left leg out behind you. Left heel, same height as the left hip, but lower the left hip so it's level with your right. Strong core. Engaged lifted leg. Option to extend the right arm forward. Turning inward, observe how you feel in this pose. Exhaling, slowly bring the elbow and knee to touch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, together. Inhale, lengthen. And one more time, bring your elbow and knee to touch and pause. And lengthen the arm and leg. And lower the hand and knee to the mat. Straighten your right leg out behind you, but lower the toes to the mat. Pressing the toes into the mat, push that heel back. Release the stretch. Pivot on the left knee that's on the mat and bring the left foot behind you. Roll onto the sole of the right foot and reach that right arm up. Option to stay here or lift the right leg, flexing that foot. Breathe. Eyes open or closed. And now lower your right foot to the mat. Let your right hand rest on your right hip and come up to a kneeling position. Turn your left palm out. Inhaling, left arm up. Right hand slides down the right leg. Think left elbow back. And then lower both hands to the mat, coming back to tabletop. Now straighten the left leg, toes on the mat. Gently push that left heel back for a little stretch. Release the stretch, pivot on the right knee and bring the right foot up behind you. Roll onto the sole of the left foot and reach the left arm up. Option to lift the left leg up, but flex that foot. Breathe. Lower your left foot, place your left hand on your left hip, and come up to a kneeling position. Turn your right palm out, inhaling right arm up and over as left arm slides down the left leg. And then lower both hands to the mat, coming back to tabletop. Walk your hands forward one hand, so where the heel of your hand is, place it up just past the tallest finger. So your hands are in front. Tuck your toes. Keeping your spine straight, lift your knees up off the mat just a couple of inches and draw your shoulders back. Straight spine. This is kind of a baby downward facing dog. Breathe. And then lower your knees to the mat. Still keeping your hands in front of your shoulders. Tuck your toes again. Lift your knees up off the mat, and this time hips up and back as high as you can go and back as far as you can, lengthening your spine, maybe straightening one leg or the other, perhaps both. Breathe. Bend your right knee and step your right foot forward between your hands. Inhaling, arms up over your head. Bring that left hip forward. Breathe. Lower both hands to the mat. Bring the left foot forward just enough that you can pivot on the toes and lower the heel to the mat. If you prefer using blocks, you can place blocks on either side of your right foot. Now straighten your right leg, bringing that right hip back. Both legs are straight, spine is straight. Bend the right knee and step the left foot forward and bow forward. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, palms together and lower your hands. Inhaling, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Place both hands on the mat. And step both feet back to plank pose. Knees can be on or off the mat throughout your practice. And now lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Now step your left foot forward between your hands. Inhale your arms up. Bring that right hip forward. Lower both hands to the mat or to blocks. And step the right foot forward, maybe 5 or 6 inches, enough to lower that heel to the mat. And straighten the left leg. Think right hip forward, left hip back. And breathe. Bend the left knee and step the right foot forward. And bow forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. And lower your hands. Inhaling, reach your arms up. Strong core, soft knees as you fold forward. Keep your spine straight. Lead with your chest. Place both hands on the mat on either side of your feet and step your right foot back. Soften your hips towards the mat. Keep that right knee lifted. You can use blocks for your hands here if you like. Inhale, reach your arms up. Lower both hands to the mat. If you can, step your right foot back a little further and then lower that right knee to the mat, sending your hips forward. Just soften the hips, let them melt forward. Even here, turn inward a touch. Focus on what's happening within. Lift your right knee up off the mat and step that foot forward to beside the right and bow forward. Inhale up to standing. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Inhaling, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Hands on either side of the feet. Step your left foot back. A really big step back. Let the hips soften towards the mat. Keep that left knee lifted. Inhale your arms up. Breathe. Lower both hands to the mat. Step the left foot back a little further and lower that knee to the mat. And send the hips forward. Think of relaxing it forward. Lift the left knee up and step that foot forward to beside the right and bow forward. Inhale halfway up, shoulders back, knees can be slightly bent, bow forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Inhaling, lift your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. Place both hands on the mat, spread your fingers wide, wrist creases parallel to the front of the mat. Step one foot and then the other back to plank pose, knees on or off the mat. Breathe here. And now slowly lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Knees can stay soft or bent, or straighten your legs if you can do so while keeping your spine fully straight. As you exhale, come back forward to plank pose and pause here. Lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. See if you can isolate the core. Move forward and back using just your abdominal muscles. Breathe back to plank pose. Up, back to downward facing dog.
And breathe. Bend your right knee and step your right foot forward between your hands. Bring your left foot forward just enough that you can lower the heel to the mat with the toes pointed out. Bend your right knee. Inhaling, reach your arms up. Bring that left hip forward. Breathe. Lower both arms and straighten your right leg. Place your hands on your hips and bring that left hip forward. If you have blocks and you might want to use them, you can place them on either side of the right foot. Try not to fall over. Hands on hips, left hip forward. Hips square to the front of the mat, spine straight. Legs are straight. Hinge at the hips as you lead with the chest to fold forward. Breathe. If that right knee starts to bend, just come up again until it's straight. Option to stay here or place your hands on blocks. And breathe. Bend your right knee and step your left foot forward. And bow forward. Slowly use your core as you inhale to rise back up to standing. Exhale, palms together at your heart. And lower your hands. Inhaling, rise. Exhale, fold. Both hands on the mat. Step back to plank pose and pause here. Lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. As you exhale, come back to plank pose. Soft shoulders, strong legs and core. Lift up and back to downward facing dog. Come forward to plank pose. Pause. And up and back to downward facing dog. Now step your left foot forward between your hands. And just bring your right foot forward enough that you can pivot on the toes and lower the heel to the mat. Hands on the mat or blocks of any height. Straighten the left leg and bring that left hip back. Right hip forward. And again, if your spine is rounding or that leg is bending, left leg is bending, just come up till everything is straight. And fold forward a little bit more. Breathe. Turn inward. Reflect within. Bend your left knee and step the right foot forward. As you exhale, fold. Strong core as you inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. With your feet hip distance apart, step your right foot back behind you. Fairly big step back. Hands on hips, bend that left knee and then bring the right hip forward so you're facing the front of your mat. Draw your core in, rib cage in. Inhale your arms up. Breathe. Palms together at your heart center. Place all your weight in your left foot. Lift your right heel up and just tap the mat with your toes of your right foot. If your eyes are closed, open your eyes just enough to focus your gaze in front of you. Maybe lift the right toes up off the mat and flex the foot. Tapping the mat as you need to. Or, when you're ready, keep that right foot flexed, lifted leg engaged. Hinge at the left hip coming forward as your right leg goes back. Breathe. Becoming quiet within. Slowly come on back up. Lower your right foot beside your left. Release your hands. Now step your left foot back, fairly big step back. Hands on hips, bend the right knee, bring your left hip forward. Inhale your arms up. Strong core to support your spine, soft shoulders. Palms together at your heart center. Put all the weight in your right foot, your front foot, and just bring your left toes forward so they're lightly resting on the mat. Focus your gaze. Play with lifting the left toes up, flexing that foot. Maybe you stay here on this side. Or focus at fold at your right hip, coming forward in your torso, left leg goes up behind you. Lifted leg is engaged. Slowly come on back up and lower that foot. Release your hands. Inhaling, arms up over your head. Exhale, fold. Take a couple of breaths here. Check in. Turn inward. Inhaling halfway up. Nice strong core, soft shoulders, and breathe. Exhale, fold. And place your hands on your hips and bend your knees. Sit back in an imaginary chair and then lift your torso up. Shoulders back. Maybe sit more deeply. Soft toes, strong core, and perhaps strong quads. Soft shoulders. Breathe. Maybe sit more deeply. Option to bring your arms out front, but if you do so, bring your shoulders back. On your next exhale, fold forward. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale, fold. Place both hands on the mat, spread your fingers wide. Step back to plank pose, Palakasana. Slowly, using your core, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Knees can start bent to get your spine nice and straight, and then maybe straighten your knees. Breathe here. Using your core, come forward to plank pose. Use your core again to lift up and back to downward facing dog. Bend your right knee and step that foot forward between your hands. Inhale your arms up. Left hip forward. Maybe deepen the lunge. Lower both hands to the mat and step that right foot back beside your left. Slowly lower down to the mat. Tops of the feet on the mat come forward and up. In Cobra. Bhujangasana. Hands are just light on the mat. Tops of the feet are pressed into the mat. And slowly lower down, tuck your toes, and lift up and back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bend your left knee, step that left foot forward between your hands. Inhale your arms up. Breathe, maybe deepen the lunge. Lower both hands to the mat and step back to plank pose. Slowly lower down to the mat. Tops of the feet on the mat, forward and up. In Cobra. And slowly lower down. Tuck your toes and lift up and back to downward facing dog. Breathe here. Hips up and back. Hands are just light on the mat. Walk your feet forward and bow forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, palms together and lower your hands. Turn and face the side of your mat and take your feet fairly wide. Pivot on your right heel to turn your right toes out. Left hip back, you're still facing the side of your mat. Keeping your spine vertical, bend your right knee. Check in that your right knee and foot are pointed in the same direction. Arms out to the side, palms down. Turn and look over your right hand. Maybe deepen the lunge. Just be mindful of your knee. If the knee is passing the ankle, just walk your left foot back to take a wider step. And now circle your arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Just small circles in one direction. And pause and go the other direction. Strong shoulders, squeezing them together as you stretch your fingertips away from you. Maybe deepen the lunge. And then lower your arms and straighten the right leg. Arms out to the side, palms forward, reach forward with your right hand. Let your right arm lower, left arm comes up. If the left shoulder is at all tender, left hand can rest on left hip. Now slowly with control, use your core to slowly come back up. And lower your arms. Pivot on your right heel and bring those toes in. Pivot on the toes and bring the heels in, toes out. Bend your knees. Shoulders directly above your hips. Arms in an L-shaped position. Maybe sit more deeply. Elbows back. Soft toes. Utkatta Konasana. Just turn inward here. Can you quiet that voice if it's complaining about this pose? Just be aware of what's happening. Lower your arms and straighten your legs. Pivot on the toes and send the heels out. And now pivot on the left heel, turning those toes out. Spine stays vertical, facing the side. Bend that left knee. Arms out to the side, palms down. Shoulder blades together. Turn and look over your left hand. Make small circles with your arms. And pause and go the other direction. And gently lower your arms and straighten your left leg. Still facing the side, bring your arms out again to the sides, palms forward. Arms and legs stay straight as you reach your left hand forward. Let your left arm lower, right arm comes up, or right hand rests on right hip. Breathe. And slowly make your way back up and lower your arms. Bring your left toes in so your feet are still wide, feet parallel. Pivot on the right heel again. Arms out to the side, arms and legs straight. Reach forward with your right hand again and lower your right hand. Left arm up back into Trikonasana on the first side. Just breathe here. Reflect within. See how this pose feels on this side. Think left shoulder back. And breathe. Slowly make your way back up and lower your arms. Now with your left foot, pivot on the heel and bring your left toes in and face the front of your mat. If this feels like balance is going to be a little tricky, walk your right foot out to the right a bit and make space for your hips. Legs and spine stay straight. Hinge at the hips and bring your chest forward while keeping your spine straight. Option to keep your hands on hips or maybe place your hands on blocks or on the mat. See what's right for you today in this pose. As you breathe, maybe fold forward a touch more, softening into the pose. And then slowly lift back up. Pivot on your feet and turn back to the side of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. And breathe. If you're using blocks, bring them over to the end of your mat where your left foot is. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale, palms together. Release your hands. Now pivot on your left heel, turn your left toes out. Arms out to the side, palms forward. Legs are straight as you reach your left hand forward. You're just hinging at that left hip flexor. When you've gone as far as you can, let your left arm lower, right arm comes up. Notice how this side feels. Breathe. Slowly come up and lower your hands. Now bring the toes of your right foot in to turn to the left, so you're facing that end of the mat. And you can move your left foot out to the left or right foot to the right if you need to widen your stance. So left foot is facing the length of the mat, right toes are turned out at a 45-degree angle. Hands on hips, have those blocks handy. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward. Think left hip back, right hip forward. Option to stay here, or maybe your hands reach blocks or the mat. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Couple more breaths. And slowly come on back up. Turn to face the side of your mat, feet nice and wide. Come on up to a standing position. Start with your hands on your hips. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Keep that spine fully straight. As you exhale, you're just bending at the hip flexors and come forward halfway. Pause here. As you exhale, slowly rise back up. Option to stay here with your hands on your hips or arms out to the side, palms forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold forward halfway. Slowly come on up. Option to keep your hands here or arms up over your head. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold halfway. Exhale, back up to standing and breathe. Every time you exhale, move to the other position. Arms can be adjusted at any time throughout your practice. Just move when you exhale. Couple more times. And reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, palms to your heart. Take a deep inhale here. And as you exhale, fold forward. Breathe, let go. Fold forward maybe a little deeper. Bend your left knee and walk your hands to your left foot, but press that right foot firmly into the mat. You might have your left heel lifted, or you can keep that left heel on the mat. Walk your hands back to center. Bend your right knee as you walk your hands to your right foot, pressing your left foot firmly into the mat. And walk your hands back to center. Inhaling, arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Palms together at your heart center. Release your hands. Pivot on your toes and bring your heels in. Bend your knees. Nice strong core, shoulders back directly above your hips. Nice straight spine, arms in an L-shaped position. Back into Utkatta Konasana. Maybe sitting more deeply today. Just turn inward. Checking in with how you feel. A couple more breaths. And slowly rise and lower your arms. Walk your feet together. We're coming into tree pose or Vrikshasana. So you can do this pose with your eyes closed, but if your eyes have been closed, this is definitely a pose where it's easier to do with your eyes open. So I'll leave that up to you. Press your right foot firmly into the mat, right knee slightly bent. Hands on your hips, come onto the toes of your left foot and turn the left knee out. Already here we're in tree pose. Focus your gaze. Option to stay here or bring the sole of the left foot to the right ankle. Maybe today you can press that left foot into the right calf. Or perhaps even try pressing that foot into the left thigh. The right thigh, the left foot and the right thigh. Just avoid the knee. Option to bring palms together at your heart center. Maybe arms up over your head. Practice with softness yet strength, like trees are. And lower your arms and lower that foot. Now press your left foot firmly into the mat, left knee slightly bent. Come onto the toes of the right foot and turn the right knee out. Hands by your side or on your hips. Standing knee is soft. Maybe today you stay right here on this side. Or perhaps slide that sole of the right foot to the left ankle. Maybe press it into the calf. And maybe into the inner thigh today, but avoid the knee. Whatever is right for you is just right today. Option, place your arms in any position that supports the pose. Finding that softness and strength and grace of a tree. And now lower your arms and lower your foot. Inhale your arms up over your head. Long, slow exhale as you fold forward. And breathe here. Bend your knees, come to a seated position. With your feet on the floor, knees bent, Start with your hands just resting on your knees and adjust your core so your spine is nice and straight, leaning forward as much as you need to have that nice straight spine, soft shoulders. And now slowly lean back, maybe using your hands to help. Engage your core here, and then let go of your knees and just have your arms straight in front, feet on the mat. Breathe, and slowly lean back an inch or two. Pause here, just looking straight ahead, or you can do this with your eyes closed, turning inward. And now maybe see if you can inch back a couple more inches. Keep your feet on the mat. Couple more inches and pause. Breathe. And one more time, a little further, but without touching the mat yet. And now lower all the way down to the mat and hug your knees to your chest. Maybe rock side to side. And now place your hands on the mat away from your body in a T position. Bring your legs into an L-shaped position and straighten your right leg, having it hover just above the mat, flexing that right foot. And now bring that right knee beside the left and straighten the left foot, flexing that foot, lifting just above the mat. And then back to center. Straighten the right leg, just move slowly. Back, bend the right knee, and now the left. Back to center, and the right. And back, and left. Just do this a few more times, each side. And right, just keep alternating the legs, moving slowly with control. We're almost there. And last time, each leg, just slowly straighten one leg and back. And the last leg straighten and keep it hovering. And back, and now softly hug your knees to your chest, maybe rocking side to side or circling your knees, moving in any way that your body needs. If you're circling your knees, pause and go the other direction. And now lower your feet to the mat. With your hands on the mat, lift your right foot up, flex that foot and place the right ankle on the left knee. And then push that right knee away from you. If you're already feeling a good stretch in your hips, you can stay right here. If you'd like to go a little deeper, bring that left knee towards you, lifting the left foot up off the mat while still pushing the right knee away from you. You can also reach your hands behind your left knee and pull that towards you, pushing your right knee away from you. Couple more breaths, pulling left knee towards you, right knee away. And then lower both feet to the mat. And now lift your left foot up, left foot flexed, place the left ankle on the right thigh. Push that left knee away from you. The reason I say to flex the left foot is that just protects your left knee. So maybe on this side you stay right here, just pushing that left knee away from you, just gently opening it. Or try lifting the right foot up, bringing the right knee towards you, reaching behind the right knee, pulling that knee towards you, pushing the left knee away from you. Left foot stays flexed. And then lower both feet to the mat. And actually lift your feet up, place your hands behind each knee and rock along your spine just a couple of times. And then make your way up to a seated position. Straighten your left leg in front. With your right knee bent, cross your right foot over your left. And now with your left hand, pull that right foot back towards your left hip. Keep that right foot flexed and lower the right knee over on top of the left. You might start with your hands on the mat behind you. If you're not feeling anything yet, another option here is to bend the left leg and bring the left foot to the right hip. When the knees are bent, feet should be flexed in this pose. But the left leg can also stay straight. And breathe here. And turn inward. If you're feeling any tightness in your hips, breathe into that area. If you're feeling soreness in your knees, make sure your feet are flexed, or if need be, come out of the pose. This pose is for the pelvic area, not for the knees. Should not be feeling anything in your knees. Just breathe. Try to stay with it. And then straighten your left leg and uncross your right. Now bend your left leg, cross your left foot over your right leg, and bring that left heel back to your right hip, but keep that foot flexed. And then lower that left knee on top of the right. So you can stay here on this side, maybe your hands are behind you. Or if you want to go deeper, bend the right knee and bring that right heel to the left hip. Just make sure both sit bones are on the mat. And make sure you're not feeling any sensation in your knees. It's all in your pelvis, your hips. Maybe a bit your thighs. Breathe. And soften. Just turn inward here, notice any sensation. Couple more breaths. And straighten your legs. And with your legs in front, just windshield wiper your feet back and forth a couple times, maybe bending each knee. And now from here, in a seated position, with your hands on the mat behind you, legs straight in front, push the mat away from you with your hands to send your chest forward towards your feet. So you're not rounding your back. Keep your spine straight. You won't feel like you go as far, but it's a nice stretch. Option to walk your hands forward and breathe. With every exhale, invite your body to slightly deepen into the pose. In Paschimottanasana. Couple more breaths.
And then slowly make your way back up. Keep your right leg straight in front. Bend your left leg. Cross your left foot over your right. With your right arm, either hug that left knee or reach your right arm up and bring the elbow past the knee. Either way. Take a deep inhale to lengthen your spine. Exhaling, left arm out to the side and place it on the mat behind you as you gently twist to the left. Breathe here. One more breath. Come on back to center and straighten your left leg. Bend your right leg and cross that right foot over the left. With your left arm, either hug your right knee or reach that arm up and cross the elbow over. Reach your right arm out to the side and place it on the mat behind you as you gently twist to the right. And slowly come on back to center. Uncross your legs and bring both feet on the mat, knees bent. Very slowly roll onto your back. Feet on the floor. Place your arms on the mat in a T position away from your body. Slide your hips to the right and bring your feet together. Let your knees roll to the left and let your gaze turn to the right. Eyes open or closed. Begin to let your body relax and rest in this gentle twist. And then gently bring your knees back to center. Slide your hips to the left, bringing your feet together. Knees roll to the right as you turn your gaze to your left or close your eyes. Gently bring your knees and gaze back to center. And one by one, straighten each leg. Reach your arms up over your head. Walk your feet to the right and then walk your arms to the right. With your right hand, you can hold on to your left wrist. Get a nice stretch on that left side. And then back to center, walk your legs and arms to the left for a stretch on your right side. And then back to center. And one by one, let each arm rest on the mat. Take a moment and make any adjustments so your body is fully comfortable. Maybe widen your legs or windshield wiper your feet. Take a moment and pause here. Turning inward
Scan your body and notice how you feel now. Take a few breaths. With every inhale, imagine your body feeling a little lighter and more buoyant. And as you exhale, release your body into the mat and let go. And turn inward as you allow both your mind and body to be fully still and quiet in Shavasana. Softly deepen your breath. And softly move your fingers, your toes. And gently move your arms and legs. Maybe stretching your whole body. When you're ready, softly hug your knees to your chest. Maybe your eyes are still closed or your gaze is soft. And slowly make your way to one side. And take as much time as you need to come up to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.